Welcome back. You're watching World News Online. I'm your host, Klaudia Czerwińska. Over the last few days, Moldova's breakaway Transnistria region has been plagued by rolling blackouts after gas supplies from state-owned Russian company Gazprom were recently halted. The European Commission says it will not leave the country out in the cold, and it's working with Moldovan authorities to try and find a fix of the energy crisis. Joining me now to consider possible scenarios is Piotr Oleksy, political scientist from the Adam Mickiewicz University. A very good morning. Thank you for joining.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So we are looking at Moldova. How is Moldova compensating for the sudden halt in Russian natural gas supplies due to the expiration of the transit agreement with Ukraine?
Yes, so the question is that the right bank of Moldova, so the Republic of Moldova, ruled by the government in Chisinau, for already 2 years is using a gas buying from the on the European markets. So they are independent from the Russian gas influences, let's say. The gas that they used to buy from Gazprom was used for breakaway pro-Russian so-called Transnistrian Republic, and now that Transnistria Republic is don't have any more natural gas. So we have a two level of crisis, let's say, or two different crises in those two regions. So in the breakaway separatist republic, they don't have gas anymore, so they don't have heating in the flats. Schools, in the public institutions, but they still have electricity thanks of that they have coal, and the electricity plant is using a coal now. On the right bank of Moldova, in the Republic of Moldova, ruled by the government in Chisinau, there is no problem with heating or anything like this, but in this situation, they were obliged to buy electricity from Romania, which is much more expensive. Mm-hmm. And it caused a huge rise of the prices of electricity for customers.
Which takes me to my next question. Now that you mentioned that they're purchasing that electricity at a higher price from Romania, what role do local production facilities such as the heating plants in Chisinau play in mitigating the energy shortfall? And to what extent can actually imports from neighboring countries, particularly Romania, actually help sustain Moldova's energy needs?
So the question is very tricky because you have to know that Moldova, the Republic of Moldova, don't have own electrical plant. Yes, so they for the last 3 decades they were buying electricity from the plant based in Transnistria. So they were buying an electricity from their own separatists, let's say, and in this very moment, from the 1st of January, it is impossible to do it anymore. And that is why they have to use electricity bought from the Western markets, especially from Romania, of course, because it is the neighbor, it's closest state. But the prices for the electricity are high, 100% more now. So
That's a big markup.
It caused a huge problem for regular people, for regular citizens who are facing the rise of price of electricity and gas for the last 2 years. And it's caused a huge disappointment and a fear and the money and the economical problem for regular people in Moldova.
Most definitely, those sort of situations actually hit the civilians the most. Obviously, we mentioned this network of dependencies when it comes to Moldova, when it comes to Transnistria, and the sort of deal that they have when it comes to energy and gas. But what's the situation of civilians in Transnistria during this winter period as the gas supplies have been stopped? I mean, from what we heard from weather forecasts, it's -8. This is definitely not a very favorable position to be in. And what do you think are potential humanitarian implications for those residents?
So I'm not there, but as we know, as we hear, the situation so far it's not so bad. There's no heating, there's no gas heating in many buildings and in many flats and in many public institutions. But they found another ways to heat their own flats, so they are not freezing yet.
The yet is an important part, definitely.
Excuse me?
The yet is an important part to mention, because you said that they're not freezing yet.
Let me finish it. As they say, they have a call for about 10 days more, or maybe 2 weeks more. The question is, what is going to happen after that period? And this is the real question, and this is the question for Russia. First of all, how they want to rule that crisis. Because there's no doubt that this crisis is raised by Russia to shock Moldova political system before the parliamentary elections in fall of this year.
And how do you think the situation ahead of the summer parliamentary elections in Moldova is actually going to influence the political scene, and especially that relationship between Transnistria and Moldova?
Frankly speaking, we don't know. Because what we could expected before is that in this situation, when the Transnistria don't have gas from Russia anymore, and they have a possibility to buy a gas from Moldova and from Western market, we could suppose that is going to lead to reunification of Moldova. But Transnistrian political elite is very closely tied to Russia, and in their mentality and in their political and business business interests, it is to keep the status quo. So that is why they decided not to cooperate with Chisinau, not to cooperate with Europe in the gas area so far, and they are playing on the changing of power in Moldova. So that Russia and Transnistria is playing on that. They are counting that people will be so frustrated because of the rise of the prices of energy and electricity, that is going to that in the parliamentary election they are going to vote for opposition, which is pro-Russian or let's say neutral, and this is quite possible scenario.
So the EU said it won't actually leave the country in the cold. Obviously, the eyes of Europe are on Moldova as well. So what happens now? And what measures do you think that the EU will introduce to provide perhaps better energy security or any sort of a solution to the situation?
For now, the European Union could help Moldova by finance support. They can help for Chisinau to make the costs of the rising prices of electricity lower. Yes, they could subsidize the government, and the government could subsidize just the inhabitants, civilians. And this is one question. The other question is Transnistria. Both Chisinau and European Union can help Transnistria, and they would like to do it, but it would cost some kind of reunification of Moldova and Transnistria. And that is something that they don't want it. Tiraspol don't want it. So you cannot help somebody who don't want your help.
So what do you think, what lessons can be learned from this situation regarding regional energy dependencies and, most importantly, the importance of diversified energy infrastructure? I mean, this is not the first time that such a situation or a similar kind of a situation takes place. So what do you think the lessons the EU should learn from this?
The first lesson for all European Union audience is that Russia is still using gas as a weapon. It's weaponizing it and using it to impact on the political dynamics in Europe. And this is, I think, the most important lesson for all of us.
Thank you so much, Piotr Oleksy, political scientist from the Adam Mickiewicz University. Pleasure to have you as always. And so this would be all for now here on World Talks, but please do stay tuned, as right this moment we have Salia Jastrzębska coming up with a news bulletin.